So for this blog, I'm going to be talking about whether I have changed the coach, and if so, what I have changed or what have I kept since being at uni. It's a supplementary task that our lecturer John assigned to us. So since being given this task, I've been kind of pondering on what I feel I've grown as a coach, or what in particular has changed in terms of my style. Um, if I'm being honest, I'm a very hands-on coach, so I'm not afraid of getting stuck in. If I don't like something, if I feel like we could build on something, I'm not afraid to say how I feel. And just to be honest, really, I'm an honest coach. I don't like to beat around the bush. And I think that's what you need. You think you need as a coach, if you don't like something, you feel like you need to say something and voice your opinion to someone. As long as you use the right terminology and you don't come across as negative, it's all about positive and constructive criticism. Then I think that makes you a better coach. I think when you see coaches that are a bit hesitant to say certain things to certain players, I think it kind of I think it makes it. I think you get kind of a bit undermined, kind of get belittled a bit, and that's what you need as a coach. A coach is supposed to be someone who's a leader and someone who can pick people up and when they're down and keep their heads up and motivate, etc. So I think, as I said, then I'm a hands-on coach and very honest coach. However, I feel like since being on the sports coaching course, I feel like I've taken more of a backseat role. So I've learned the importance of the flow of a session is so important, and I feel like if you let the players thrive and let them have the thirst for knowledge, I think the success rate of the session increases tenfold, which is so important. Because also if you're just constantly going in every couple of minutes, trying to say, right, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, it just creates frustration. The intensity of the session decreases, the morale, wanting to be there, and just saying, I can't be bothered being here. I want to go home. I've come to play football and get better as a player. I don't want my coach coming every 2 minutes to tell me what I'm doing wrong or what he wants to change. If you let them have their own ownership on the session and wanting them to be there, because you want to come to training for a reason. You don't just want to wake up one day and go, oh, I've got football training tonight. You want them to be enthusiastic. You want them to be there and to learn and to get better as a player, which is a fact, really. So, yeah, I feel like I've learned that over time. Also, I feel like I've had more structure to my session because I've never really been a fan of block practice, but sometimes I've had to incorporate that in certain aspects if there's an overall issue that needs to be addressed. So there are times where I have in the past used block practice. However, it's mostly been I use a combination of random and variable, which I think is most effective. I'm going to link in an article about non-linear approach that I thought was really interesting. I'm going to link that in. Also, what was really interesting, I read. It was only tabloids. It was only Liverpool Echo, but it talks about how Jurgen Klopp's adapted from being from Germany to England, and it talks about how, obviously, because in the Bundesliga, in the German leagues, they have a winter break, so it gives them time to replenish. It gives them time to work on areas that they've worked on, areas they feel like they need to work on from September, October, November, etc. So in that winter break gives you that time to reflect on what's happened so far, obviously, because when you're going into the back end of the season, you want to be going in all guns blazing, and you want to try and set yourself in a good place to maybe, if you're in one team, to avoid relegation, or maybe to get promotion, or get a Champions League spot, or to win the league. So he talks about how it's not affecting him as a coach at all. Obviously, it's different, obviously, because he's used to having a break with his team to get more one-to-ones and get more look at the pressing matters within the team, but it feels like it isn't affected him that much at all. Obviously, he knows that he's struggled a lot with injuries, so he's had to adapt and bring people up from the youth team and etc. and rely on younger players who really should have been nurtured by the older, more experienced players. But he said he's not. It's not phased him being in the Premier League, and he feels like the winter break hasn't made any effect on him in terms of his coaching style or his philosophy, which is great adaptability and a great initiative, because it's just like being in a session where you plan for a certain or a specific range of numbers, and you don't get that many people there, and you're like, what do I do? What do I change? And everyone gets that sometimes, where you get some coaches that plan at home and they bring the session with it, and they change after the session, while some people like to stick with the session bit by bit, minute by minute, where, I mean, it's good that they're planning, but sometimes you're going to get people who are injured, you're going to get people who are lacking interest on the day, you're going to get people who just want to do a certain thing, and some that are really eager to do anything, that's it, that's what I think I've learned the most as a coach. I feel like I've changed as a coach. I feel like I've become more adaptable. I believe I feel like I'm more in control, and I feel like I'm I wouldn't say consistent, but I feel like I've matured more as a coach. Where I've always thought about when I was younger, I thought being a coach is all about being loud, and you're just saying a lot of compliments, and you're making your voice heard. But sometimes it's not what you say. It's not how you say it and how you project your voice. It's what you say and what effectiveness it's going to have on the rest of the team. So I feel like the biggest thing I've learned the most is maturity as a coach, and I feel like I've been in a number of environments and being and coaching in a different country, in a different continent. I believe that's helped dramatically, because I've been coaching a number of ages, a number of abilities, people from different backgrounds. So I've had to take into account people's backgrounds and whether they got bullied or not, they've got struggles at home, and how do I manage that? What do I do to manage that, really? And how do I have to come across myself? Because I would say in my next blog I'm going to be talking about the difference between a coach and an instructor. So I don't really want to touch on that too much, but I would say as a coach you kind of want to be seen as different. Not just a coach, you want to be seen as something else. It's like maybe your best friend, or maybe a father figure, or maybe even a role model. So it's what you have to do in situations where you've got people who may have had a rough upbringing, or they're not making friends, or they're not particularly good, so they're not being valued and wanted in the team. So you've got to take all that into account. So yeah, I believe I just want to keep on coaching, and I want to keep on learning, because I know I've got so much to learn, which is also another positive. Because if you feel like you've got it bang on now, then you're just lying to yourself, really, because there's so many different avenues and corridors to walk down as a coach, and there's so many things we're going to learn over time, and because one day your method that you feel like might have been absolutely perfect and tip top, but then you think, oh, we're going to win the league, and then 1 minute you're playing against a team who isn't particularly good, and you know you're better, and then they beat you 3-0. It's back to going to the drawing board and recognising that not everything's going to go the way you planned. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to leave a comment, feel free. If you want to message me on Facebook or anything, then feel free. And just give me opinions about it. And if there's anything you feel like, if there's any questions you want to ask, or anything that I feel I didn't explain enough and elaborate enough, then don't hesitate to message me. Thank you. Bye.